Martin Luther King was born on January 15, 1929 in Atlanta. Martin Luther King was an American pastor and activist who fought for the civil rights of African Americans, as black people at the time felt marginalized, fighting for the rights of black people.
In the past, United States was a country full of racists, wasn't it?
Yes, at the time that he had born, the United States was a country with a lot of racial discrimination, and with abuse of power, the black people was considered inferior to white people for their skin color. All the political decisions was made about the preference of the people with more money or that were born in the north of the United States.
Wow! I believe that kind of actions cause marginalization in the black and poor people. Martin Luther King was a black person with curly short hair. Also, he had black eyes and a mustache. About his personality, he always was a pacific and charismatic person who always wants to fight for the equal human rights and the respect for all types of people, especially the black people, who always have been treated as inferiors only for their color skin. The man with thin eyebrows and with 1.69 meters high is considered as a leader for all his skills, in the capacity of achieve human consciousness and the passion that he had owned over the years to create a better and equal world.
But he did a lot of good action for his people, didn't he?
Yes, he was a confident, humble, patient, and honest person who always was working for the common good without expecting any economic reward, but always hoping that one day his voice can be heard and the people finally understand that all of us are the same. Could you tell me what Martin Luther King did in his whole life?
Martin Luther King did several amazing things. He led a protest in favor of blacks with buses in Montgomery, and in that way he achieved that black people do not give up their position on the bus, thus continue fighting for the civil rights. Also, he gave a famous speech called "I Have a Dream" when he was 35 years old, that touched hundreds of people. Also, he received the Nobel Peace Prize in 1964, and he was elected president of the Southern Conference of Christian Leadership. His main objective was continue fighting for his right in the politics. Before Luther King did all this, there were many injustices to black people in the world, but he really achieved a change in the world in that sense. Do you believe that Luther King was considered a leader?
Yes, I believe it. Luther King, as a complete leader for an entire nation, he did so many things to try to help people for all the possible ways. But his principal objective was to fight against the racial discrimination in the United States, obviously in a pacific way. In 1995, Martin heard about that the police had a woman arrested only for the fact that she didn't give her seat in the bus to a white people. Because of that, Luther King started a pacific protest against it and managed to gather a lot of population to fight for the respect of a human being. As a result of that protest, the racial discrimination in the bus became banned and out of context. Because of all that social equality actions, Luther King became famous in his country and a lot of people started to consider him their savior. Can you tell me why you choose this person?
I chose this person because he seemed really important to me in the fight for rights. He contributed a lot to our society. It's exciting that he fight for the justice and human equality and huge Pacific protest. Despite having no drawbacks, he always fought for what he wanted. Also, he was a preacher of peace and tolerance, whose battle is one of the most important in the history of nations.
Most people should be like him. All the things that Martin Luther King could get about the justice and the respect for black people made a big difference in the United States and around the world, because with his thought that no one should be treated different for their skin color, he achieved that people understand that being white or black doesn't define you as a person. Because one really can show what kind of person one is his heart and his actions. In the actuality, United States is going through for a several social problem because a situation that a white cop killed a black man called George Floyd. Even he begged he couldn't breathe. Despite all, the cop didn't stop to threaten him with his knee.
That must be awful. That event caused an impact on people's lives, didn't it?
Yes, that situation caused a huge impact in all the world for all the abuse of power and the injustice in that kind of actions. But thanks to people like Martin Luther King that had the courage to protest in the past for similar reasons, nowadays the people feel with the obligation and necessity to make justice and to demand the rights they deserve. Also, they want to raise their voices to bring justice to the life of George Floyd, a black man treated with discrimination for the simple fact of being black.